Welcome inside the RX Muscle Studios in Westbury, New York. This is the latest edition of RX Muscle's Iron Debate. Glad to have you aboard. July 30th, 2014, a special episode of Iron Debate. I am your host, Sadiq Faruqi. 4 topics, no agreements, all debate. Let's meet our competitors tonight, hailing from Portland, Maine. We call him the Technician, Chris Aceto, making his 4th appearance on the show. Chris Aceto out in Portland, Maine.
How you guys doing? I had to put on my Aceto University hat because I thought Big Rich might come on with a kill Aceto, or I'm going to get him type hat, or 5% a hat. So I had to have this made up at the last minute. And Rich, if you look over my shoulder, I'm undefeated. So this is the cup. If you beat me in the debate, that's what you win right there.
Well, I'm curious now, for Aceto University...
I'm going to fill it with McDonald's for you.
What is the mascot for Aceto University?
It's a brain. It's, like when you're in like 6th grade and they have like the sheep's brain and you have to touch it and you smell the formaldehyde and all that. That's what we use because it encompasses everything. Just transcends all other mascots.
So if Aceto University ever plays Notre Dame, you're going to have the Fighting Irish versus the Brains.
Yeah, so I was a little worried debating Rich, and I didn't know if I should take like an Adderall to be like super alert, or if I'd be intimidated, I might need a Xanax or some GABA to come down. So I took a little bit of both, and I'm like right in the middle right now.
Well, joining us from Porter Ranch, California, a long-awaited guest. We were supposed to have him on in the last episode. There was some confusion with the time zones. Chris Aceto said, well, perhaps he was trying to avoid me, but we do have him on the show now, live in Porter Ranch, California. It is our pleasure to have in the Iron Debate, Rich Piana.
What's up, everyone? I'm here and I'm ready for Chris, and I can't see Chris on the camera, so I don't know if he was holding his nose or Yeah, my name is Chris Aceto, but anyway, we're ready to go, and let's do this, right, Johnny?
Yes.
Rich Piana borrowing the phrase of our director and producer Johnny Styles, the "Let's do this," and joining me in studio as always, our boss Dave Palumbo.
Hello, everyone. I did see that Rich Piana has the Kill It hat, and Chris has the Aceto University hat. I really should have gotten one of my hats to wear. Not that I have a lot of hats, but I feel hatless in this lineup here. But I am looking forward to contributing whatever I can to this debate. But I'm actually a little scared because I don't know. This might be one of our most. So this could be one of the most combative debate shows that we've had.
Well, that's what we want. Last time we had Boston Lloyd. He brought the combativeness. This time we had the man himself, Rich Piana. Would be remiss to not reference a man joining us in studio tonight, IFBB Pro, joining us from North Carolina all the way here in New York. Martinez Hagens is in the RX Muscle Studios. Hello, Martinez.
Hello, how you doing? It's a pleasure being here. I'm excited. Thank you.
All right, look at that. So we have some visitors from the IFBB world joining us here in the RX Muscle Studios. It is a packed show. We are ready to go. Here is our first topic. So, if 2 bodybuilders were to have the same training regimen for a 2-month period, now follow along, these 2 bodybuilders would have the choice between eating only McDonald's for an entire 2-month span, or eating or digesting nothing but supplements, so protein powders, protein shakes, anything along those lines, any supplements you would get at your local retail store or from speciesrxmuscle.com. Who would have the better results? Chris, we're going to start with you. If you were to have McDonald's for 2 months or supplements for 2 months, same training regimen, who would have the better results?
Well, let me reframe the question, I guess, like anything else. You have to look at the time period. If you went to maybe a 4 or 6 month time period, it'd be a lot different. Probably in a year, the McDonald's guy would be a fat slob and just be insulin resistant and probably not be able to move and wouldn't put on it. I don't know if he'd put on any more muscle, but he'd probably put on fat. I think people who say I gained a lot of muscle from McDonald's are chronic under-eaters. They eat like egg whites and rice cakes and tilapia and white rice, which is a problem for a lot of people who roam around the internet because they get their nutrition ideas, their foundation from nutritionist newbies, and they're eating too clean to put on any mass, so they switch to McDonald's and then they get some calories in there, and dense calories, and they get a pump and feel like they're going to explode. I guess you would have to lean towards if you're using powders and you have access to, it's an extreme question, but if you had protein powders and some protein pancakes and some type of solid food with it, I think after 2 months that would win out over McDonald's. I mean, if you're going to be a McDonald's eater all the time and it's going to put on muscle, then send me I'll start a thread and
I lost. I don't hear anything going on. Is it my turn to speak? I don't hear anything on my computer. All right, here we go. Chris, first of all, what I have to say is eating out, if you choose the right things, you can eat healthier than a lot of people believe. And, the supplement industry, a lot of people believe that protein powders and so on are actually more beneficial than food. And that will never be the case, never has been the case. Food will always win, even when you're talking about junk food. Now, at McDonald's, I believe you can get oatmeal. I haven't eaten McDonald's in probably 9 years, but I believe they have oatmeal on the menu. I believe they even have egg whites on the menu. So I believe they have pancakes, chicken breasts. I believe they even have chicken breasts that aren't fried. So you're talking about chicken breasts, egg whites, pancakes, oatmeal. It sounds pretty good to me. It sounds like a pretty good bodybuilding menu for me. I know I could get gains, and I know I could continue to get gains, and I don't really feel it matters if I was doing this for 4 weeks or 6 months. I think I could continue to get gains doing this regimen for 6 months, just being smart and picking the right things on the menu. And I think the argument here is basically that food is better than supplements. And a lot of people spend so much money in the supplement industry and not realizing that food is number one. And as far as protein powders, gas, on the toilet, you don't really know exactly what you're getting in the product. And I say food is always number one, whether it's for 2 months, 6 months, or a year. I would say McDonald's kicks ass over any supplement. That's my take.
Talking about the 900 calorie fish fillets, the deep fried French fries. We're talking about the greasy McDonald's prepackaged food. You're going to tell me that eating that for 2 months straight is going to be healthier than having 2 months worth of protein bars and protein shakes?
I think I only heard half of what you said. But,
I'll repeat my question. So again, you brought up oatmeal, you brought up some of the more healthier items on the McDonald's menu. But when we're talking McDonald's, we are talking about greasy food, 700 calorie fish fillets, French fries, some of the most artery clogging foods that you can pick up from a takeout restaurant. So would that be more healthier over the course of 2 months than having protein bars, protein pancakes, or any other supplements that may be disguised in the form of foods?
So you're saying the menu is limited. I can only eat the junk stuff off the McDonald's?
No. What I'm saying is, again, when we're talking McDonald's, for practical conversation, usually we're going to be talking about the greasy junk food, no?
I was just talking about the McDonald's menu in general. But if you want to just talk about the greasy stuff on the menu, we can talk about that.
Right. So again, a 2 month span, you're going to say that you're only going to eat fish fillets, right? Which we can all agree it's not exactly the healthiest thing to eat. Deep fried, 700 to 800 calories. So would you rather somebody eat that over the course of 2 months than protein bars and protein shakes?
If it was only fish fillets, then you'd have a little bit better argument, and I might lean towards the supplements. But I would never eat a fish fillet sandwich from anywhere because I don't like fried foods. So if you were going to say you could only eat fish fillet, and that was the question, then I would say I would probably lean towards the supplements.
All right, so
I thought the question was. Now that you changed it on me, I will change my answer. But
there we go.
I thought the question was, if you eat at McDonald's, period, I would definitely pick McDonald's over supplements. But if you want to change the question on me and you say you can only eat filet of fish sandwiches, then I'll go with the supplements.
All right, we're gonna
be a little more specific in the questions because I answered the question correctly.
we're gonna have Dave Palumbo jump in on this one. We're talking about McDonald's versus supplements, and we're trying to expand the menu. So for practical conversation, Dave, we're talking about the most greasiest artery clogging items on the McDonald's menu.
Well, anyone who knows anything about my history knows that I was a McDonald's fanatic, but I didn't eat it every meal. I ate it once a day, and I felt that it did help me. But I ate the hamburgers, some fries. I think Rich kind of loaded the question up because he kind of basically is saying, look, you can eat healthy anywhere out. And I think if you go to McDonald's and you pick the better qualities of food, maybe the hamburgers and the grilled chicken sandwiches, you probably could eat very healthy there and grow very well as a bodybuilder. Obviously, we all know food is better than supplements, which is the point that Chris made, I think. But if you wanted to just go, like you said, on a McDonald's menu, kind of like the way they did on that movie Super Size Me, where they made you eat everything on the menu. We had to have the shakes and the ice cream sundaes, and you had to eat everything every day or something like that. I think that's how it worked out. I think you could probably eat healthier with supplements because, there are like protein pancakes out there, bars. You might have the worst stomachache of all time after the 2 months is over, but you really could do it, and you probably could eat healthier. But once again, if you can pick whatever you want at McDonald's, I think you always go with food over supplements.
All right, so we are going to move on to our next subject now. We're going to dial it up a little bit now. We talked about McDonald's and we talked about supplements. We're going to stick with supplements. We are now going to bring up steroids and comparing steroids to recreational drugs. And this is something that we talked about with Rich Piana yesterday. He brought up this idea, so we want to bring this out on the table. Steroids, as compared to recreational drugs, are they as dangerous as recreational drugs? Rich, we're going to start with you on this one.
The thing is a drug is a drug. Everyone knows. Now, steroids aren't physically addictive as same as a recreational drug, but I believe they can be just as dangerous. And the thing is, whenever someone does take drugs, they always want to deny certain things about the drugs, which is normal. And in my experiences, as far as I used to have the feeling of, people, do meth or drink alcohol, go out and get in a car accident and, kill an innocent person. And with steroids, that doesn't happen. You're pretty much just affecting yourself. You're pretty much just hurting yourself. You're not affecting others. And from my lifelong experience, I've realized that it does affect others. When I first started, I was 18 years old. And if someone honked the horn at me, I would follow them to their house, pull them out of their window, and beat the hell out of them because they honked the horn at me. I mean, I took it as, they literally, killed a family member. And I was just out of control with my anger and my aggressiveness. And this is the truth. And a lot of people, like to say, no, it doesn't do that. There's no such thing as roid rage. No, that's not true and this and that. But, it is true. It is a fact. And so that's why I categorize steroids the same as any recreational drug, and they are addictive. It's just a different addiction. You're addicted to the results you get. You're addicted to the feeling you get, as opposed to actually, if you stop taking steroids, you don't go into withdrawals and shaking and, sweating and pain and everything else. So it's not as physically addicting. It's more mentally addicting to the results you get. So I put them in the same exact category, which is rare because most bodybuilders that take steroids will deny all the things I'm saying because they don't want to believe the truth. And the truth is, yeah, a drug is a drug. And, you know, they do have those side effects. For every positive, there's always going to be a negative.
All right, Chris, we're going to head back over to you for this one. Steroids, are they as dangerous? Are they as debilitating to one's health as recreational drugs? And when we're talking recreational drugs, we're talking about the main offenders here, crack, cocaine, and, you know, heroin. So do they compare?
No, they don't, because recreational drugs are mind-altering. And when you alter your mind, maybe you think you're a badass like Rich Piana, and you may be 100 pounds and go up and approach somebody in a bar like Rich Piana and challenge him, and then that's the end of your life. Or it might be the end of your life if you overdose. I mean, I don't know too many people who have overdosed on, you know, whatever milligrams of performance-enhancing drugs a week, but you can use a recreational drug and kill yourself in 20 minutes or overnight on it, with going into that night with a smart person, not full of yourself and patient type guy, and you're going out to have a good time, and you just go over the edge because recreational drugs are mind altering, and they clear or they cause a distortion in your cognitive ability. And I think that's the distinction, is that
Rich, we're going to go back over to you.
Any type of alters your ability to think clearly, that alters your ability to think clearly, is more dangerous than any other drug. And that's why, you don't have somebody taking steroids and eating the guy's face off in Miami like 6 months ago. There was a guy who took PCP, and he tracked down a guy, and he ate his face right off. I mean, it was...
Chris, we're going to go back over to you for your rebuttal to what Chris just said.
There's obviously... Steroids are mind-altering. They might not be to the same degree, but they are mind-altering. And I don't know how Chris could say they aren't, because they are. And clearly, anyone out there, I don't know, has Chris even ever taken steroids to even be in this argument? I don't know if he has or not. I've never seen pictures that really would make me believe
you can post up pictures. There's plenty of pictures out there, Rich.
I'm just asking.
Yeah, the answer is yes, I have, and there's plenty of pictures out there, and I probably could out-squat and out-bench you, I bet, at my heyday.
Right behind you, Chris.
I have no idea if you could or you couldn't. I could care less, honestly. I don't do this to have a heavy bench or a heavy squat.
No, well, I mean, you asked the question. You asked the question if I used them. I said, well, not only have I used them in moderate dosage, but they're pretty darn effective. If you can squat 500 for 12 reps pretty easy and bench 500 for 2, I think, yeah, I've used them.
Okay. Well, I wasn't aware, so I was just asking the question. You don't need to,
Well, no, now you know. But go ahead.
I just was unaware. But as far as from my experiences and people around me, I believe they are mind-altering. Now, to the degree of other drugs, no, not so much. But they are mind-altering. So to say they're not, I believe, is completely false.
Chris, let's go back over to you for a minute rebuttal on this one.
I think two things. Recreational drugs are mind-altering in terms of an individual lacking the clarity to make typical decisions, rational decisions that he would make.
Exactly.
If you put
I agree with you.
So there's a difference there, and as well, anabolics, I would say, have an ego-altering effect on the person, where they can still make relatively clear decisions or clear decisions. They've just got, they've gained 10 pounds and they've got, their bench has gone up. They feel strong. They're gaining weight, and people looking at them and they feel like, and there's nothing wrong with that. They feel like, I feel good. So I think there's a difference between stroked up ego and, I just dropped some PCP and I think I'm Arnold Schwarzenegger and I'm going to go, blow up a building.
So you're saying the roid rage is a complete fallacy, that's just a complete fallacy, 100%. There's no such thing as someone losing their mind or getting more aggressive than normal when taking steroids and maybe doing something they wouldn't normally do if they weren't on steroids, as far as their aggression, as far as testosterone levels being, 3, 4, 5 times a normal man.
It may affect some people that way, but I don't think it affects everyone that way, whereas PCP, heroin affects everyone uniformly. they alter everyone's mind all the time. We all know people, many bodybuilders who take a lot of steroids. They don't have roid rage issues. So
We
they're,
know.
I'm not saying that people,
Bodybuilding is
there are
close
not
to me
exceptions
because
to the rule where
there's
people
some
have roid rage,
bodybuilders
and you
that
might have had
lost
roid rage
their
when you're
goddamn
18.
mind and done
But
some
I don't think it's
crazy
as
things.
common as people think.
All right, Rich, you seem to be really passionate about this subject. Let's get a final thought out of you on this one.
Crazy things.
I guess the litmus test is if you had a nephew, what would you recommend him to stay away from most?
All right, so we're gonna go
All
to
the above.
I mean, that's my litmus test. If you have a son or a nephew or a brother, and they say, you know what, I'm thinking of doing some heroin and PCP, or I'm thinking of doing a test in Decacycle, which one should I do?
All right, we're going to bring Dave Palumbo back into this one. This one getting a lot more heated than McDonald's versus supplements. This is comparing steroids to recreational drugs. Dave, what say you on this one?
Wow, these guys are really going. I didn't think it was going to get that heated, but I think Aceto and Piana might have to go in the octagon, at some point. But to me, when you say dangerous, drugs being dangerous, I think kind of similar to the way Chris did, in the sense that I see like possible death, a coma, hospitalization, and I just don't think you can compare hormones to recreational drugs like that, because hormones don't work quickly. They don't have a dramatic effect right away. So anything that's going to happen to a steroid user in terms of danger is going to probably be down the road. Heart disease, kidney problems, liver, other stuff like that, stroke, high blood pressure. I don't think that's is it dangerous? Yes, but I think that the danger from the recreational drugs, like Chris says, is that you kill yourself. I mean, look at Paul DeMeo. He overdosed on heroin. I mean, he was a guy who was one of the most talented bodybuilders probably of all time, and he died of a heroin overdose. So I think the recreational drugs are way more dangerous. That's not to say that steroids can't be dangerous, but I just think that you really can't compare the two on that note.
All right, so we're going to move on to our next subject now. That this branches off a topic that we discussed a few episodes ago, and that is bringing bodybuilding to the mainstream. We talked about NBC Sports Network's decision to air the Mr. Olympia competition, but on a 1-month delay, and we debated whether or not that was a good idea, whether that was really a true service to the bodybuilding industry, or whether it was a little too late. This takes it to a step further. Can bodybuilding go even more mainstream? We have all these digital platforms now, all these different ways to get your bodybuilding news. We have all this contest coverage, of course, here on rxmuscle.com. So, Chris, I'm going to go over to you now first on this one. Well, you know what? Hold it right there. We're going to gather your thoughts on this one. We're going to take a break, but when we come back, we're going to talk about this subject. Can bodybuilding go even more mainstream than it already is? Also, you want to think about another one. Think C.T. Fletcher, Branch Warren, Callie Muscle, and Rich Piana. If you were to lock the four in a celebrity cage match, which one would come out? You're going to think about that. We have a whole lot more. Again, if you want to get in on the question and answer, hashtag RxPiana. We're going to take the best questions. They're rolling in right now. So we're going to take the best ones and ask them at the end of the show. Iron Debate, rxmuscle.com. We'll be right back. Back on Iron Debate, rxmuscle.com. I'm your host, Sadiq Faruqi. Once again, if you want to get involved in the conversation, the hashtag to use tonight is hashtag RxPiana. Tweet us your questions. They are coming through fast and furious right now between Twitter and our forum. So we're going to ask the best questions. Rich Piana. Again, the hashtag is RxPiana. Back to our next topic. We teased it going into the break. Bodybuilding. Can it get more mainstream than it already is? Again, piggybacking off a conversation that we had a couple of weeks ago with NBC Sports Network giving Mr. Olympia the coverage. About a month later, they're going to be airing it on their channel, and whether or not that is a good move, a monumental move, or a little, too late for the bodybuilding world, considering all the platforms we already have. So, Chris, we're going to go over to you for this one. Bodybuilding, can it get more mainstream?
I don't. It depends on what you mean by get, and depends on what you mean by mainstream.
More than it already is.
Ever get mainstream to the extent that, sixth graders aspire to be bodybuilders. I mean, we had a couple things. We had Arnold as the governor. Arnold as the #1 box office smash in the world for years. If he can't, quote, if he can't, and Joe Weider, 100 years of legacy, if during their time periods, bodybuilding can't become, quote, mainstream, I think it's just run up against like a glass wall, so to speak, in terms of how mainstream will it become. And to add to that, you have to factor in things that are happening now in bodybuilding, like men's physique. Men's physique is siphoning off a lot of interest in bodybuilding, and you're seeing more competitors in men's physique, more depth, more quality. That men's physique may have effective inroads into, quote, mainstream, whatever that means. But in terms of bodybuilding, I think it's always going to have like an edge to it where it's on the edge of mainstream and becoming mainstream is just an illusion we keep putting ourselves through.
Well, Rich, you yourself, a big brand in this industry, and you've used these digital platforms to elevate your brand, but in a way elevate the sport as well. So where the sport presently stands, and again, that is a wishy-washy term, mainstream, but for what it's worth, do you see the sport getting more mainstream in the near future?
I believe it could. Will it? I don't think so. Now, I believe if things were done differently, it definitely could become more mainstream. And I believe it has to a certain degree. When you look at people like me, CT Fletcher, Cali Muscle, our fans are 16 to 22-year-olds. And I recently made a point. I was at a signing, and I was talking to a bodybuilder who was talking about his show he was getting ready for, this and that, and asking me, how he can, become better in the sport and blah, blah, blah. And I said, let me show you something real quick. And I looked over and I had a line of, probably 60 people. And I said, hey, I have a question for you guys. Do any of you guys know who won the Chicago Pro 2 weeks ago? They said, what? What's the Chicago Pro? I said, it was a pro bodybuilding contest. Oh, no, I didn't even know it. Nobody knew who won the Chicago Pro. And the thing is there's people that aren't in the bodybuilding world that are interested in muscle, in huge guys, but it's not put out there. It's not out there for them to see. So, everybody knows who CT Fletcher is, but not everyone knows a lot of these IFBB pro bodybuilders because they're not out there. They're competing in the contest. And I believe it was put out there more, and the promoters did more to bring it out. And, a good example is, the Mr. O used to be at Mandalay Bay. And, it was a bigger venue. It was more exciting. It made things more exciting. It would, bring people more to want to see the show, see what it's about. And now it's at the New Orleans, and it's going to stay there. Should it stay there? No. Could it go back to Mandalay Bay? Yes. Is that up to me? No. Do they have enough money to put it at Mandalay Bay? Yes. Will they put it at Mandalay Bay? Probably not. Now, I believe that if we continue to put more back, give more back, and put more out there, we could make the sport grow, but that's not what we're doing. It's a little tiny, small, little bodybuilding community, and that's the way it has been and the way it's going to stay. But spent money and put money out in order to get people to see what's going on, we would bring people in. And I think the bikini and the physique competitors is a great addition. And I think that has a huge opportunity of bringing more people in the mainstream. I mean, when you're watching the beauty pageants on television and you see these bikini girls, I mean, there's no comparison, or, the Tropicana, beauty pageant, whatever. There's no comparison in the bodies and the beauty. The bikini girls blow them away. And a lot of people in the general public aren't aware of these bikini shows. They're not aware of these girls. They're not aware of, this is even going on. And I think if people were made more aware of it, they would definitely show interest.
Well, Rich, let me jump in on that. Again, we had this discussion a few shows ago, and I'll ask you the same question. NBC Sports Network broadcasting the Mr. Olympia a month later, does that benefit the sport?
It definitely doesn't hurt the sport. I mean, I believe it definitely will benefit it. Definitely doesn't hurt the sport at all. A month after the venue, which it'd be a lot better if it was live. Obviously, that's not taking place. But I have to say that I definitely think it will definitely help and get people involved. And as far as physique and bikini girls, general public seeing that, I think they're going to be very into it and very curious and enjoy it. And as far as the bodybuilding part of it, the bodybuilding, there's going to be a lot of positive and a lot of negative, and we'll just see how it goes.
Chris, I'm going to go back over to you for this one. Rich did bring up a point, and that is the way that the events are promoted, that they're organized, and he referenced how Mr. Olympia used to be at the Mandalay Bay, a prestigious location. Do you think that could be an issue why the sport is not more, better known among the masses?
No, I don't think it's necessarily the venue, although I like the Mandalay Bay, and I think there's more prestige with, it's kind of like the hotel, on the Strip, or one of the hotels. It's nice to be on the Strip and, drive down the Strip and see, Phil Heath and Kai Green's pictures up there, like you would drive by and see like Cirque du Soleil, the Michael Jackson concert that's there. But, although I don't see it the bodybuilding going mainstream, and I did say the men's physique is an avenue, and Rich added the bikini to bring more mainstream in. I just hesitate to see, by definition, I think mainstream is when Toyota, Chrysler, Intel, and Microsoft are at least some odd way supporting bodybuilding, meaning big advertisers who support other big sporting events. When those advertisers gravitate some way towards men's physique, bikini, and the Mr. Olympia and the Arnold Classic, all packaged together, then I would be comfortable saying it's, quote, mainstream. That said, the Olympia itself, Mr. Olympia, Miss Olympia, figure fitness, all these things, the prize money is going up. We'd all like to see it be like, Phil Heath walk off with $10 million first prize. Obviously, that's not going to happen. But the prize money has gone up every year. And, when we were kids, people competed. Lee Haney for like, 30 grand to win Mr. Olympia. Granted, 30 grand was some type of money in those days, but I think, even Lee Haney would agree, Phil Heath can go in and win 250. It's not a night's work. It's a full year's work, and it takes a lot of preparation for that. But it's not to negate the idea that there's no growth in bodybuilding. We're just talking about mainstream trying to broaden the net, so to speak. And I think men's physique and especially bikini might be a way to, get it to move that way.
Again, bodybuilding, can it get more mainstream? Dave, you have some strong thoughts on this one.
Absolutely. Absolutely. If the sport will allow itself to go more mainstream, that is the question, really, we're talking about here. Because, look at the WWE. The personalities. Why do people like to watch the WWE? It's number one, the personalities. Number two, the physiques. Well, bodybuilding's got the physiques, for God's sakes. And I know there's a lot of great personalities. Look, we got two right here today, Chris Aceto and Rich Piana. So I think if we can nurture that and enter that, take some of the money we're making from the sport, from all the sponsors, and let's create a TV show. Look at what the Ultimate Fighter did for the UFC. Why not have a bodybuilding show like that on TV, a reality show? Make the people more aware of who these people are. Just like Rich said, no one knows who won the Chicago Pro, but that's also because there's no one talking about it. If there was a reality show about people getting ready for the Chicago Pro, everyone would know who the Chicago Pro is. I think that, in order to make the sport more mainstream or to make the sport more palatable to the general public, we got to show the personalities in the sport. And that means, expanding, essentially. It's not just these little venues where we're going to hold shows and then when the show's over, it's kind of over. So I think that that's important. And I think that, once again, because it's not really like a sport in the sense that you're shooting a ball through a hoop. It's a lifestyle. So show the lifestyle. Get the mainstream public involved in the lifestyle. For God's sakes, if people could watch the Kardashians go shopping, I think it's a hell of a lot more interesting to watch a bodybuilder, prepare their food and go to the gym and change their physique right before people's eyes.
Well, Dave, I'm going to bring this up to you. Rich did bring the point about the venues and the fact that we, as an industry, used to have our shows at the Mandalay Bay at prestigious venues. Do you think that is a part that plays into all of this?
No, I don't believe that has anything to do with it. Because you could hold this in a gymnasium, the Mr. Olympia, and people would still watch it. And if they live streamed it, people at home would be going crazy over it. Like Chris said, it's a little more prestigious, I think, from a standpoint of saying, hey, we're at the Mandalay Bay as opposed to the Orleans. But the Orleans arena is actually a bigger arena. I mean, yeah, the hotel that's connected to it is not the greatest hotel, but the Orleans Arena holds big, huge, concerts and stuff like that there. So, in essence, only the people who go there see that. When we're talking about mainstream America and we're talking about television, it's going to be the show we produce. So the show can be produced from anywhere. It's just a matter of how much we can get it out there. I think that NBC Sports making a first move is good, but I think that the bodybuilding organization should follow up with try to getting some kind of reality-based show on bodybuilding on TV. I can't believe there isn't one right now.
Well, Rich, we're going to go back over to you because Dave disagrees with one of your main premises and about the venue, about the prestige of holding the Mr. Olympia or other big events at the Mandalay Bay or other big locations. Why does that make such a difference in your eyes?
Well, every year when I'm at the Olympia and I'm walking around, I get asked by at least 20 to 30 people, is there a bodybuilding show going on here? Or what's going on? I see all these muscle guys walking around. What's going on? Is there a bodybuilding show? These people that aren't in the bodybuilding world, they don't know about the bodybuilding show, and a lot of them might go watch the show if they know about it, if they knew about it. Now, like Chris said, if they were driving down Las Vegas Boulevard and they saw a big billboard, Mr. Olympia, and they had pictures of Phil Heath and so on and so forth, that might drive them to go watch the bodybuilding show, which would be bringing in people that aren't involved in the bodybuilding community to come watch the show and might get them involved. So that's where I see it would make a huge difference, is at least people in Vegas, people from all over the world would be aware of it, and they're in Vegas and they've never seen a bodybuilding show, and they might say, hey, I've never been to a bodybuilding show, let's go check it out. And these people that aren't bodybuilding fans might go just out of curiosity to watch, and that would help the sport grow. So I think it would definitely help. To say that it wouldn't help at all doesn't make any sense. Sorry, Dave.
Well, I just wanted to add one more point because, when I was competing back in the 90s and I had first started, I appeared on a lot of talk shows like the Jenny Jones Show, and there was a couple others along the way, Montel Williams. And I got to tell you, I got more people coming up to me in the supermarket and on the street saying, I saw you on TV yesterday. You were great. That was awesome. I love watching you pose and talk about how you went from a medical student and a runner to a bodybuilder. So I really think that human interest is which is what will grow the sport ultimately. And if we ignore that fact and we worry about pomp and circumstance, around the Mr. Olympia, it's very short-sighted vision. I think that if you want to grow the sport and we want to put it into mainstream America, we got to put the bodybuilders into people's living rooms. And we're not going to do it by broadcasting the Mr. Olympia show. We're going to do it by actually showing the personalities and the lifestyle of the bodybuilder.
All right, well, we're talking about the Mr. Olympia competition, that, of course, the crown jewel of the bodybuilding competitions on the calendar. Well, we had an idea. Comparing the turnout, the draw for the Mr. Olympia, if we were to hold an event across the street, let's say it was a closed cage death match, it featured C.T. Fletcher, Cali Muscle, Branch Warren, and Rich Piana. Now, part two of this question will be who's going to come out. But part one of the question is going to be this. Would that competition, would that closed cage death match outdraw the Mr. Olympia competition. Chris, what say you?
I don't think it would be outdraw it, but I'd be watching it. That's for sure. I just you're no matter what you have 4 big characters, the guys you named, versus 50 years of legacy of the Mr. Olympia. I mean, the Mr. Olympia still has 50 years of history behind it. So there's a lot of us muscleheads out there who follow it and can't wait for it to come. And even though we have an idea who the top 4 are going to be every year, we still anticipate it. We still hope for the underdog. We still hope for the winner who we don't like, or that's not necessarily Phil Heath. But, the guy who keeps on winning, you hope to see him stumble. It's human nature. You want to see the underdog win or see a, battle royal, at the show. So in terms of a draw right now, I think the Mr. Olympia will still outdraw a battle like those guys might put on.
Rich, a battle royale with the aforementioned C.T. Fletcher, Cali Muscle, Branch Warren, and yourself. Equal promotion for both that and the Mr. Olympia. Which one gets the bigger crowd?
Oh, definitely the free-for-all. Definitely, without a doubt. And the reason I say that is, let's look at C.T. Fletcher for a minute and let's see how many fans he has. I would say he's probably one of the most popular people in the industry. Him, Dalen, and Bailey. I would put it at the very top right now, above Mr. Olympia. That's my personal opinion. And if C.T. Fletcher was going to be in a cage fighting me, I guarantee you all of his fans would come watch it. And I'm telling you, I know that for a fact. And probably 90% of his fans could care less about bodybuilding. And I have to say probably about 70% of my fans could care less about bodybuilding. So I think it would bring a huge crowd that has nothing to do with bodybuilding. Just seeing these huge, strong guys get in the ring and see what they're capable of, And I think it would be insane.
Well, Chris, between C.T. Fletcher and Rich Piana, just on Facebook, we're looking at a combined 550,000 followers. So there is quite the following for both of them, not factoring in Branch Warren or Cali Muscle. So again, with the same amount of promotion, you're going to stick to your guns on this one that Mr. Olympia would outdraw.
I'm sticking to my guns, but if as Rich is as confident as that, I think Dave's got to hook up with him and C.T. Fletcher and do some type of promotion, and whether it be to promote a bodybuilding show or just promote a big, I don't even know what you'd call it. What would you call that?
It'll be called the
RX
Battle Royale. Actually, you know what?
If Piana can get 500,000, if Rich and C.T. Fletcher have 500,000 people following them and can do a pay-per-view for $1 and get half their people show up, that's $250,000. And you know what? And one of them can throw the match or whatever at the end, so they'd have to have a rematch in 2 weeks for another $1. That's $500,000.
Rich, what would be a good name for this kind of and I hate to say it, but battle royale?
Toughest bodybuilding personality. I don't know.
You're more creative than that. Come on. You're Mr. 5%. Mutant Nation. There's got to be something behind it. There's got to be a catchy name to this event.
Yes. The world's toughest bodybuilder.
I like it. So, Chris, I'm going to go back over to you on this one. So we're going to bring in part B of this question. C.T. Fletcher, Cali Muscle, Branch Warren, Rich Piana. Which one comes out of the cage?
Rich Piana.
You can't do that. All right.
Bullshit. Huh? What? I can't pick Rich?
No. I mean, you can, but no.
Then I'll pick Branch. I'll pick Branch Warren. How's that?
Why?
Why Branch Warren? Because he'd be the least likely to. He would be the least. You know what? At the end of the day, Rich would say, "Okay, I'm getting paid. I'm going to fight." Branch would say, "I'm getting paid. I still want to go back into the gym and train and not be injured." So he'd probably chicken out at the end. And people like Branch Warren, they're bodybuilding diehards. Meaning, you know what? People like Branch Warren, they train and train and train. If money comes to them, great, but they don't put the money before the training. So in some type of battle like that,
I think you're underestimating Branch Warren a little bit.
Rich, who would come out off that world's toughest bodybuilder challenge between yourself, Fletcher, Muscle, and Warren?
Well, I would obviously say that I would but I just wanted to say I think Chris is underestimating Branch Warren due to the fact that I don't think the guy's scared of injuries. The guy is a freaking lunatic. Look how he trains. I mean, he's literally bouncing the weight off of his body. You know, to me, he's pretty, you know, he goes out and, you know, wrestles pigs with a knife and kills them, you know. So I wouldn't go so far to say that. I mean, I think Branch would be a pretty decent opponent, to be honest with you. But definitely I would have to pick myself. For sure, without a doubt.
All right, so let's bring in
That's
Dave.
not to take anything away from anyone. That's just the confidence in myself. But I have to say, man, Branch Warren, he's definitely got a lot of intensity inside him, boy.
CT Fletcher just posted on Instagram that he's listening to the show live and he's pissed. So now he really wants to have the match because Rich didn't pick him.
Well, Johnny, let's do this.
You know, see, that's what
$1.50. The tickets just went up to $1.50 for pay-per-view.
See, that's what we do on this show.
$grand based on 250,000 sales on watchers, eyeballs.
You know, we talked about Rich Piana a couple of episodes ago, and we got him on the show. Now we're talking CT Fletcher. He's pissed off. Perhaps we're going to get him on the show. That is how it works on Iron Debate. Dave Palumbo, final word. First of all, would this world's toughest bodybuilder competition outdraw Mr. Olympia Part B, who's emerging out of the cage?
Well, we already have I think we already have about 1 million pay-per-view watchers, right, ready for this cage match. And, you know, Jay Cutler has, over 4 million followers on Facebook. So, you know, if we can throw Cutler in the cage too, maybe, you know, we could probably certainly make more money on the pay-per-view all-out cage match. There's no doubt about that. I think way more people would look. America is a society where we love violence. We love seeing people kill each other and fight each other. Fighting will always outman the Mr. Olympia contest. People will spend their money to watch fights. They won't necessarily, you know, to pay it to see people flexing. Especially, you know, that's just the way society is, unfortunately. But who would emerge from the cage? Look, I've seen Branch Warren. I'm not even talking about his training. I've seen him. I've gone hunting with the guy. He is intense. I guarantee you, not one man would leave that cage alive except for fucking Branch Warren. He would certainly win. No disrespect to Rich. Rich would be the first guy he kills probably in 3 seconds. Cali Muscle, I saw back off of Will Harris this past weekend at the USA when he tried to call him out. So I know Cali Muscle's not going to last that long. And I got news for you. CT Fletcher might be the most difficult opponent, but Branch will be scheming for weeks before the match, and I guarantee he'll take him out pretty quickly too. So my pick, Branch Warren.
All right. Rich, I have to ask you, Dave picks Branch Warren, obviously to be the winner. You be the first kill. What do you say to that?
Let's set it up and let's find out. I'm down. And I'm not joking.
All right.
I'll promote it. That's fine. You know.
So I'll actually put 10
Just
grand.
call me Don Dave King.
I'll actually put 10 grand against Dave's 10 grand. How does that sound?
Wow.
I'll put 10 grand on Branch Warren without a doubt.
Good.
No way.
Good.
No doubt there.
So,
no disrespect to Branch. You know, he's an awesome guy and he's full of intensity. But when it comes down to me and him in the cage, I'd be the one walking out.
All right. I'm sure CT Fletcher would have something to say about all that. Well, we did talk about during the show that you would have a chance to participate in the conversation with the hashtag RxPiana. We do have questions rolling in throughout the show. We promised that we were going to ask some of the best ones. So, Rich, the first question that we have is from Sean O'Connor. That's at Sean OC Tweet. What advice would you give to younger age bodybuilders when it comes to money and affording food, supplements, etc.?
You know, you just have to find the best possible foods for the cheapest. I mean, when I was in that boat, and my problem was I was listening to all the muscle magazines and I was spending all my money on Twin Lab Gainers Fuel 1000. I don't know if you guys remember that product, but that's where all my money was going because I didn't know any better. But, you know, to look back, if I had to spend money on, you know, oatmeal, pasta, you know, the cheap carbs and, you know, the cheapest proteins I could find, which is probably whole eggs, you know, not forget the egg whites, eat the whole goddamn egg. You know, the way the guys did in the 70s. Don't throw that shit away. Don't be throwing fucking egos away. Are you kidding me? That would be my suggestion. You know, trying to find the cheaper chicken breasts, you know, Costco, but definitely buying food. You know, don't waste your money on, you know, these supplements that are claiming, you know, you can gain, what is it, 19 point something pounds in 12 weeks. Don't be buying that. Just spend your money on food.
We're going to go to our next question, and Dave, I'm going to want you to jump in on this as well. And this question comes from Brandon F. That's at Brandon F50. Would you want to see more people that look like yourself or Ronnie Coleman on the big screen?
As far as on stage, on a
movies on the silver screen.
Oh, would I rather see?
Sure. Again, big personalities like yourself, like Ronnie Coleman.
I'd much rather see myself, obviously. Have you guys seen the new Hercules? I haven't seen it yet, but I heard he did an awesome job.
No, I haven't seen it yet, but Dave, let me get you in on this conversation again. You know, we talked about mainstream, and now you have, in you particular, reference the personalities and how this sport needs to showcase the personalities. What would you say to the flagship bearers like yourself, like Ronnie Coleman, like Rich Piana, being in Hollywood?
I think that, you know, it's weird because, you know, back in the 80s when we were watching, when I was growing up watching movies, I'm sure Rich too, you know, Stallone and Arnold and, you know, Carl Weathers and there were guys that were jacked, you know, Dolph Lundgren. And today, it's just everyone seems to be these little skinny guys with like these little, you know, they got maybe one vein running through their bicep and maybe like their chest has got a couple striations in it. And, you know, it just, to me, it's not like it used to be. You know, I looked up to these guys as like bigger than life, and I'd love to see it. And I don't know if Ronnie Coleman can act or anything like that. I'm sure Rich Piana is a much better actor than Ronnie Coleman, but I would like to see some bodybuilders with, you know, good physiques on stage. I mean, on the silver screen. I'd love to see Eugene Mission. I know he's trying to get into Hollywood. I'd love to see him in a couple movies, play a Terminator or something like that. So, yeah, I mean, I think that would be a great thing if they could.
Yeah, I misunderstood the question. I thought he was comparing me to Ronnie Coleman.
No. He was just saying in general, would you like to see a bodybuilder?
No, I mean, I definitely can't stand when I go to the movies and I see these, you know, these guys playing heroes. You know, Tobey Maguire playing Spider-Man. I mean, Jesus Christ, you know, my girlfriend beat the fuck out of him. You know what I'm saying? When I see, you know, just pretty much every superhero there is a joke. You know, every leading man is a joke. And I just can't. I mean, I can't sit there and believe it. You know, it's unbelievable.
What do you think of Ben Affleck as Batman, the new Batman?
Wow. Yeah, it's shit. You know, when I was 15 years old, I could have kicked the shit out of him. You know, it doesn't. You need to have. It has to be believable for me. You know, and The Rock is the only person out there that I believe. You know, I think Mark Wahlberg's good. A lot of people don't know, but Mark Wahlberg is a badass. I have seen him spar, and he can back his shit up. And he's pretty believable, but most of these guys is a joke. And I can't stand watching movies like that. I can't even sit there. I can't even sit through the movie.
Well, we did mention Ronnie Coleman, eight-time Mr. Olympia. We are going to have him on rxmuscle.com next Tuesday night, 7 p.m. on the Sports Flex. And we all know that Ronnie Coleman is a very big sports fan, so you're going to be able to hear his opinions on some of the latest topics. And we're very pleased to have him on the show. That's Sports Flex, Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Racy has a great question here. Would Mr. 5% ever make a special bodybuilding show and or federation?
Well, obviously we all would like to do that. That's something that I think all of us would love to do because we all believe we could do a lot better job. You know, that could be something in my future, definitely. I mean, it's definitely something that needs to be done. And, you know, first of all, here I am. Here, you're going to get me on a rant. Here I go. First of all, anyone that's a judge has got to be, you know, a competitive, ex-competitive bodybuilder. It doesn't make any sense to have anyone judge a contest that's never been in a bodybuilding contest. That's just my take on it. Every single judge would be a competitive, ex-competitive bodybuilder. That's one of the first changes. The criteria as far as judging the contest, you know, there's got to be a set criteria that's followed. You know, you score the people on categories. Then they get their score sheet back and they can see exactly why they didn't win. You know, there's no, when you see a bunch of bikini girls on stage, what are you choosing? You're choosing the girl you want to sleep with, right? I mean, that's what I'm choosing. I'm choosing the hottest girl up there. You know, there needs to be criteria. What are you looking for? Are you looking for abs? Are you looking for a flat stomach? Are you looking for muscularity? You're not looking for muscularity, you know, and sometimes you see top 5. The first girl has flat stomach and not very muscular. And then the second place girl has abs and shoulder caps. And then the third girl has no muscles and no abs. You're like, that makes no sense. What are you looking for? You know, so if there is criteria that people could look at their scorecard and know exactly why they didn't win, it also cut the politics out of it, you know, whatever politics are involved. So I can just go on and on all night. We don't have all night to go end it there. But that's something I would definitely, everyone would love to do that. And let's leave it at that.
Well, Chris, I wanted to get your thoughts on this. Again, the question was, could Mr. 5% ever start his own federation or his own show? What would be your thoughts on that?
Whether Rich could or anyone could.
Well, let's stick with Rich and, again, someone with, you know, his mindset on the industry.
You know, if he's passionate about it, which it sounds like he is, he could. But, you know, you got to keep in mind, starting anything these days in such a crowded marketplace is always difficult. In other words, to start a nutrition company today, even if you're Phil Heath, is very challenging because you're up against hundreds and hundreds of established or other companies that have already been in business 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. So, you know, other people have tried to start bodybuilding organizations and they've failed simply because, you know, the IPB's been around for, how old's Joe Weider? You know, how old was he when he died? I mean, 80 years? I don't know how long it's been around, 70 years. So, you know, it's established, it's in a zillion countries, all that, yada, yada, yada. You know, you're up against a well-oiled machine. But competition is good, so if Rich can get, maybe that's when we can talk about Chrysler, Toyota, Microsoft, and Intel. Get those sponsors on board, then, you know, here comes the money and there's the success.
We're going to have Dave jump in on this one. The subject of Rich, Mr. 5%, starting his own federation or his own show.
I think Rich can do anything he puts his mind to if that's really what he wanted to. But, you know, getting back to the real question is do we need another federation? Do we need another? You know, everyone thinks that the grass is always greener on the other side. I think that we have a really strong federation now. I think we have a lot of respect. I think everyone knows the athletes are the best here. And I think that, you know, what we just need to do is continue to push the sport and make it evolve at a faster rate. And I think that, you know, what they've done so far over the last couple of years with men's physique and bikini and women's physique is they have been pushing the sport and helping it to evolve. So in that respect, I'm kind of happy with where the competitive arena is at. Yeah, no one's ever happy with all the decisions. And granted, I've seen some terrible decisions, but you know what? I've seen a lot of really good decisions too. And when you look at all the contests that are out there, I think, and you do a statistical analysis, probably 95 or 6% of the time they get it right, and I think that's a pretty good percentage, especially when you're talking about a subjective sport where people sitting in a judging panel are based on their own, you know, likes and dislikes. So I'm happy with that. What I'm not happy with, and what I think needs work on, is the promotion of the sport and to make it more, you know, like we said, mainstream, to bring it more into the public eye, show the personalities, you know, make it more of a show. You know, I think Broadway show and I think bodybuilding, because, you know, there is not enough pomp and circumstance. It's kind of so dry. Now, it could also be the fact that, you know, there's so many divisions now. There's really no time to make more of a show out of it. But look, if we're in Vegas, you know, how about have some choreographed, you know, acts you're going to show, or do something with the bodybuilders. You know, I think that's where we really need to put our attention.
We'll take one more question for Rich, and this one comes from ODR4J. That's at ODR4J. And he asks, given the evolution of bodybuilding, do you think it is a sustainable sport? Where do you see this sport going?
Well, I hope to see it continue to grow, and I hope to see it to eventually become more mainstream. Like I said earlier when we talked about it, I believe it can happen as long as we go about things the right way, and pretty much what Dave just got done saying. You know, it's about promoting the sport, and I also believe it's about giving back. And everyone knows that whenever you have a business or you run a business, you have to put back into the business for the business to continue to grow. And I feel like that's not happening. I feel like we're not giving back. We're not reinvesting in the business, the people that are running the show. And that's very important for the business to grow, is you have to reinvest. And like I said about Mandalay Bay, if you make more profits, this year, why not take those extra profits and put them towards the next venue, being a better venue? Why not continue to reinvest and make the sport grow and treat it as a business, as you would want your business to continue to grow? That's the reason why it's not growing. Back when I was competing, 15, 20 years ago, the Orange County Muscle Classic was held at Knott's Berry Farm. It was fucking amazing. It was unbelievable. We'd go to prejudge, Knott's Berry Farm, watch the prejudge. We'd go ride the rides, have a good time. Bodybuilders invaded the park. We'd go back to the night show. I mean, it was an amazing time. And then, it ended up being, I don't know, it just, everything's gone down. The California, NPC California used to be in the Redondo Beach Auditorium. That was an awesome venue. It was incredible. We had to bring it down. I remember when I competed in the USA, it was at the Santa Monica Civic Center. That was an awesome venue. It seems like things have gone backwards, and I wish that, the sport has grown and we're making more money, and every take that extra money and reinvest in the business and make the business grow. And I think what a lot of people don't understand is that would in turn bring more money to the people that are making money. When you reinvest in a business, the business grows, you in turn make more money. So it's about the future, making more money in the future, making the sport grow. And I think that's where it is failing. And I really wish that, people could realize this and, try to make the sport grow and invest more money. And a big thing to me is giving back to the competitors. I mean, if a guy pays $425 to enter the USA's and he wins, shouldn't he get a little something other than a trophy? I mean, that's just my opinion. My opinion is that if he paid $425 to compete, why shouldn't he get more than a trophy? He's the winner of the show. It's kind of like if you do a raffle and everyone throws in $100. Well, the winner gets more than he put in. He gets more than $100. He gets $1,000. You know what I mean? And I just feel like the winner of the show should get something more back. He shouldn't be losing money when he wins the show. Call me crazy.
Let's get Dave in on this one. The question was about the sustainability of the sport and the future of the sport.
Well, my vision, for the sport, is kind of what the NFL did. I mean, if you think about it, people want to watch bodybuilding. It's never going to go on cable television. It's too expensive. Real TV is too expensive, and the supplement companies don't have the money like Coca-Cola and Nike and Reebok have. So that's not going to work. But the internet is the greatest new, vehicle to showcase bodybuilding that's ever been created. We have the technology at RX Muscle to live stream any show, for pennies on the dollar from what it used to cost. And I would love to see an all access, like website, even whether it be RX Muscle or something else, where they can actually, people can go and watch any major show live on the internet as it's happening. You want to talk about generating interest in bodybuilding? People would love that if you can watch it live. And it could be done. It could be done. I have the business model. It's cheap. It's not going to cost a lot. If the Federation cooperated, with the media and we came up with a combined effort with all the media sites together, not like individual, not me, I. Everyone gets together and say, how can we make this happen? We create one monster website. Everyone can cash in and make a profit from it, and we live stream all the major events all over the world. It can be done. I'm telling you, bodybuilding would be on the map. It would change the whole scope of the sport. People have to just not be afraid to take the chance, and that's really the problem. You need to have a little faith in the fact that we need to. If you want to change something, you got to do something drastic, and I guarantee you, this would do it. It would absolutely do it.
You know what? I lied. We just got a brilliant question on Twitter, and our producer and director Johnny Styles said that this had to be asked. So 60 seconds. Rich, this one actually comes from an IFBB Pro from Vic Del Campo. He asks, would you really want bodybuilding to be mainstream, or would you be afraid that the government would do to it what it did to baseball?
I would definitely like to see it go mainstream. I think it would be great. I'm curious Dave's opinion on if Vince McMahon had continued with his WBF federation, what he thinks would have been the turnout, because it was looking huge at the time. And then the big steroid controversy, and he got drug into court, and he just completely gave up on it. But we were thinking that was going to be a huge, huge positive thing in the bodybuilding community that Vince McMahon was doing.
Well, it was very positive because it caused Joe Weider to have to give contracts to the athletes. And so in essence, even though it was a short-lived thing, it did bring a lot more money to the athletes in the sport. Now, no one would be making the MD contracts or the Flex magazine contracts that they would make today without that. So, but it brings you right back to the question that Sid just asked. Look what happened with Vince McMahon when he tried to put this thing into the public eye and make it super mainstream. All of a sudden, they wanted the bodybuilders drug tested. I mean, all the WWE wrestlers get drug tested. There's an independent, it's not the WWE that's testing them, it's an independent drug force that comes in and tests them. They're related to the IOC, Olympic Committee. And, that is a possibility. You put bodybuilding mainstream and people start to, ask questions. It doesn't become so under the counter anymore. But the truth is, look, once again, you don't have to go onto TV to do it. You can do this on the internet, and it can still remain kind of like a cultish following, but you're going to see a lot more popularity from it. I just, there's no right answers. There's always a double-sided sword to everything. The drug issue does come up, but I don't think, once again, bodybuilding is a sport in the sense that people are shooting hoops, and it's not in the Olympics, so it's more of a spectator thing. It's more of a spectacle, and I think that might help save bodybuilding from the government scrutiny in that sense.
Well, we had some excellent questions. Again, we had the hashtag RX Piana. Future shows, we are going to be incorporating more question and answers, so we certainly appreciate the support and the feedback from our Twitter audience, from our Facebook audience, and of course from our loyal forum audience. But it is time now for the segment where everybody gets to lay it out on the line, and that is our FaceTime segment. So Chris, we're going to go to you first for FaceTime.
Well, my bitch this week is that I was at the USA and I ran into Flex Wheeler. He won it in 92. I was there. 93, Cormier won it. I was there. And we were talking about their preparation. And the bottom line is that they suffered to win the shows and really, dug deep. And I'm not saying bodybuilders don't dig deep, but we were trying to figure out, me and Wheeler, why is the level of just amazingness not there 10, 12, 14 deep where it was when he won, let's say, the USA. You got to remember when he won the USA, or when Cormier won the USA, I think Mike Francois was second, not a bad second placer. So, and Flex brought up the time I ran into him when he was getting ready for his New York Pro debut, and I saw him at Steve Weinberger's gym, and he looked like if you blew on him, he would blow over. That's how depleted, wound down he was, but he was ready for the show. And, people aspired to be professional bodybuilders going to the NPC USA. And now, a lot of people, it seems like, go to support their resume. That they place in the top 10 and then they can put out on Instagram or Facebook. They're serious about it, but they're not dead serious to the level of, I know that where Chris Cormier was, where Wheeler was, and I think it's reflective on the stage. You don't see, like I said, we said, me, Chris, and Flex, you don't see 10 deep where the 10th guy looks wild and he's just getting beat by people who maybe have better shape and muscle bellies ahead of them. So it just seems like the commitment, the passion, the just do whatever it takes, not PED wise, but just EFFORT wise, effort wise, is there.
All right, Chris Aceto bringing it as always. We now move over to our debutante, Rich Piana, for FaceTime.
My rant today is something I've always wondered is when the judges pick the top 5 and they call them out in the middle, and then they pick 6th through 10th. Why is 5th and 6th never compared against each other? It drives me out of my fucking mind because there's so many times when I look and I'm like, okay, the guy that you guys are putting in 6th looks better than 5th. At least give him the opportunity. At least give him the chance let's face it, in the USA's, when you make top 5, that's a huge accomplishment. So the guy that gets 6 is kind of getting screwed if he doesn't get an opportunity to at least be compared to the number 5 guy. It drives me out of my mind. Why can't we just compare 5th and 6th? Why? They never get compared. It just doesn't make any sense. Another thing I have to say is audience participation. When I'm at a bodybuilding show, I'm bored out of my fucking mind. It seems like everyone's bored out of their mind. Now, no one claps, no one cheers. It's just silence. People are just talking amongst each other about what they did last night. You know, we're in Vegas. What'd you do last night? Like, we need more audience participation. We need more camaraderie. We need more, like, let's clap for everyone. Let's get excited. Let's show everyone the respect they deserve. They killed themselves for 6 months getting ready for this show. They walk out and there's complete silence. And I know everyone out there who's competed knows what it's like when you walk out and you hear nothing. You're like, okay, I guess I look like shit. No one's saying anything. In a big group of family and friends, and they have 20 people there. So that person walks out and everyone claps and cheers their friends and family. The next guy walks out and all he has is his wife, so he gets no clap. It's like audience participation. Let's make this exciting. That's it.
Rich Piana, this was exactly what we expected. You brought it. Great job on the show tonight. We go to the boss, Dave Palumbo, for his FaceTime.
Mine's more of a Jerry Seinfeld rant than anything else. I think that if you're going to go around and call yourself an IFBB pro, which there's so many people out there that are doing nowadays because there's so many pro cards, you better know who the top 5 bodybuilders in the world are. It's embarrassing. I see, and I'm not going to say that, I see bikini competitors. You could mention the word Dennis Wolf to them, and they won't even know who this person is. To go around and tell people you're an IFBB pro in the best bodybuilding federation in the world and you don't know anything about bodybuilding is an embarrassment to me. At least if you're going to be in the IFBB, learn about the history of it. Find out who the champions have been. Know who's competing in a division other than just your own. You're representing a group of elite athletes. And I remember back in the 90s and the early 2000s, having a pro card was like a real serious thing, and we all knew. You can ask Rich. You knew every single pro. You knew if someone walked into a gym, you knew if they were a pro or not. Nowadays, there could be 25 people that are pros in the gym, and you might not know any of them because there is so many. Now, I like the fact that there are a lot of pros, but I just think that people have to take pride in the sport that they're involved with and at least know who the players are and the shakers.
So everyone bringing it in their FaceTime, everyone bringing it on this episode. This was lively, it was juicy, and this is exactly the kind of thing that our audience craves. Great show all around. Good job by Rich Piana, Chris Aceto, and of course, Dave Palumbo. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of Iron Debate. I'm Sadiq Faruqi reminding you Tuesday night we're going to be joined by 8-time Mr. Olympia Ronnie Coleman in the Sports Flex. We're going to have some controversial subjects, and you're going to get a chance to hear Ronnie Coleman talk sports. I'm Sadiq Faruqi, thanking Johnny Styles, our director and producer, IFBB Pro Martinez Hagens, joining us in studio. Keep it locked to Facebook and Twitter for all the latest information. You will miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Keep it locked to rxmuscle.com. Have a good night.